many hidden aspects in this area, and you can develop in a in the years to come and the days to come in a much better clarified manner. So what is this environmental accounting is a fundamental question. Now, as I said earlier, as business units, we are talking about profits, we are talking about loss, we are making money, etc., preparing financial statements. I just started 5-6 minutes ago. When the moment I started this class, from then to now, hardly 7 minutes, I'm sure definitely more than 300 acres of land has been chopped off. It is the accurate statistics. This is the reality. So we are deriving the resources from the nature, maybe the timber, maybe other sources, the greener forest we are destroying, or afforestation is taking place. So simply we evaluate only in terms of the revenue, in terms of the cost, how much we are obtaining. But in reality, it's impossible in our lifetime. In lifetime of all of us, it's impossible to replace or replicate this 300 acres as long as we're alive. So what does it mean? At what cost we are doing? This is only a glaring example. So every day, now you are, say, sitting in front of the computers or mobile, you applied so many things for your skincare, or rather you have eaten something in the morning, maybe chocolate or some delicious breakfast. Without our knowledge, we are destroying our forest resources for the sake of all these things. So we don't know, just because the products are available in the market, just because the demands have been created, we are just making use of it. But at what cost? Again, it's $1 million question. So that is the insight we need at this point of time. You may be applying the skin balm or the lip balm or any other thing, any cosmetics or any cream which is generated from the from the field, from the agriculture land. So they are all turned into agriculture land, or maybe fertile lands or barren lands, after destroying the natural resources, maybe the forest. This is, I'm talking based on the statistics, what I've obtained. So therefore, every day in our life, in a day-to-day routine aspect, we are destroying these natural resources. I think my audio is audible. My voice is clear?
Yes, sir, clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And we are obtaining the maybe vegetables, maybe timber, maybe plantation crop, maybe meat, even every hour, as I said, it has been chopped off. The natural resources have been exhausted. We are burning, you are burning your oil, petrol, diesel. So from where we are getting it? It may be the natural microphone, maybe the natural resources we are getting it, but we are talking about exchange rates, we are talking about the barrels and per liter, per gallon, per barrel we are talking about. We are not producing those things. It's the oil we are extracting from the nature. But how to replicate that, how to replace that, we are not thinking of. So 50 years ago, exactly, those oil producing countries were nothing. But today they can dictate the world, rule the world because of their natural resources. So that we have to consider how to evaluate those exhaustive resources we are making use of. So therefore, many corporate giants, they have not considered these aspects. They're completely ignored, deliberately, knowingly, unknowingly. So as academicians, we should do something in understanding the cost involved in it, the benefit that we are deriving. So there is definitely a huge gap between the cost and the benefit, what we are getting for the pleasure, for the sake of satisfaction, for the greed we are consuming. It may be a cup of Pepsi, or a bottle of Pepsi, or Coca-Cola, or a bottle of water which you're drinking. So they are translating billions of dollars every month. At what cost? So it is the natural water they're pumping out from our groundwater. They're adding the colors, and we are using it. The India, one of the markets for them, we are using that, and we are throwing the trash. So trash we are not refilling. So we are refilling with the trash means the trash cannot be generating any resource even after centuries. Whereas the natural resources, the oil, the minerals, the ores, the fossils, because of that we are replenishing and we are getting these natural resources, but we are creating man-made things like the trash, the tin or the plastic. We cannot replace the natural resources. That is the reason why we need to have something like environmental accounting. So every day demand is increasing, no doubt. The business people, the business community is very happy. Every year, especially in India, in Asian countries, 3 billion more consumers are added to the market. Maybe because of the purchasing capacity or the power, 3 billion more consumers are added. That means to say it's good for business, but definitely bad news or bad for environment. For instance, if in the Pacific Ocean, you could see the floating plastic. The plastic is much, much bigger than the city of Texas, what it is floating. That is what the statistics that they reveal. So imagine what would be the plight, where do you throw all these things? We are exhaustively exhausting the natural resources and we are unable to replenish this. So therefore, we are to curtail this exhaust usage and we have to account it. Because we're using it, there are no regulations as such. We are not containing, we're not controlling, we're not reducing. So that is the reason for this kind of devastating atmosphere in the global scenario. So therefore, we are making an attempt to introduce a subject of this kind. So how to account this? More often, as all of you are familiar with finalizing the accounts, writing the assets and the liabilities, evaluation of assets, maybe fixed assets, current assets, or whatever it is. So we know that so far in accounting, we evaluate the financial accounts, financial aspects, we evaluate the physical assets, we evaluate the man-made things like maybe the stock, maybe the bridge, maybe the assets like building, mobile, whatever it is. But we are not in a position to evaluate the ecosystem, the damages that we are causing to the ecology, the damages that we are causing to the forest resources, to the water resources. These are all in danger to the society, at least for the next few years. So therefore, we are measuring our output in terms of GDP, maybe Indian GDP or global GDP, doesn't matter, but we are unable to value the resources which we are exhausting and we are using. So therefore, we have to value these things. See, in the next one decade, $125 trillion value of natural resources being exhausted. $125 trillion natural resources means it's impossible to replace. That's what we can give to our next generation. Very difficult, very pathetic. And we are refilling with the carbon emission. So we are polluting the air, polluting the water, polluting the nature, and many things. So at this point of time, it's most appropriate we can think of something like accounting these damages, what the corporates are doing. So if not as an individual, you and I can't do anything, but as corporates, we can, at least we should be aware. That's the first and the foremost thing. We should aware the damages that they're causing. Industrial effluent, the pollution that they're causing, because most of you maybe are Mysoreans, and we could see one industrial estate in Nanjangud township. So why most of the industries are located, why not in Mysore? That is also a question. Not just because it is there. No, they deliberately started there because many of them are using the water which is freely available. Water resources, maybe from Kapila River. So maybe Nestle or any other company, any multinational company. So it is very easy for them to, drain out their effluents at no cost. So they are damaging our own ecosystem, our own natural resources. They are polluting. Officially, they are polluting. Rather, we have permitted them to pollute by just establishing a unit there. So it is only a glaring example which I am giving. So when you evaluate, the cost, the price at which we are damaging, really we don't understand. We are consuming Nestle, maybe chocolates, maybe milk powder, maybe other things. But at what cost? How much they are polluting, where nobody is accounting it. So that is, you can ignite your own mind, student's mind, so that they can see if at what cost we are not in a position to evaluate means it's very dangerous. So in case of, if we take the international standards, if I take for example, Jeddah, the cost of 1 cubic meter of water is 0.07 cents in Jeddah. Whereas in other countries, it means to say already the value for water is started, valuation of water is started. One country is talking about $7, other country is talking about 0.01 or 2, less than 5, $0.05 per cubic feet, means you can see the correlation. So there is a demand for water. Already we created scarcity for water. Even though 7.3 trillion people across the world, they're unable to get potable drinking water. So that means to say the value of dollars, I mean to say 7.3 trillion US dollar value of water is not being used for potable conditions. So this is the biodegradation that we are talking about every year. So this is definitely a dangerous phenomenon. We are polluting our own resources. Just because we are we are in the Kaveri basin easily, the water is being flown and there are no barriers for us to use that. We never ever made an attempt to understand what is the value of water that we are consuming. As you know, many from the rural area, 1 ton of sugar cane can definitely fetch you 2,500, 3,000, 2,800 and something like that, 1 ton of sugar cane. But that is consumed, rather cultivated at least for 365 days. And how many days the water we are flowing across the paddy fields or the sugarcane field, and when you convert that into cubic feet, the standing waters, and calculate in terms of the market value of water, definitely it's highly glaring, and you will understand the damages that we are causing to the environment, how much of water is being used for our greed. So one bottle is 20 rupees per liter of Aquafina or whatever it is, but at what cost we're exhausting that? All these are the fundamental aspects. So many companies have made a survey. Even for example, when you buy a pant or a trouser costing around 1,000 rupees, maybe any brand for that matter, right, from jeans to the official wear, we now in the lifetime of that trouser, we will be spending around 3,000 liters of water if you are using a washing machine. And if you're hand wash, and definitely it will be much higher than that. So 3,000 liters, when you calculate the cost of that water in terms of market value, and the utility or the satisfaction or the pleasure that you are getting by wearing that one, so it's definitely negative. So many companies made a lot of research. We pay 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees to buy one pant or a trouser, but the real cost we really don't know. We are polluting the water even at the time of dyeing. So for even one pant, what they're dyeing, the color I'm talking about, and they'll the fabric will be washed 5 to 6 times. The variety, if the variety is very good, and the number of washes will be very high, the more, and that will be simply, contaminating the natural water. So they're adding colors, they're adding poison to the natural flowing river. So these are all the cautions that we get from the international bodies, that we are polluting ourselves, we are rather damaging, destroying our own resources. So that makes us to understand something like environmental accounting. So most of the countries right now, 9 out of 10 countries, they are suffering from this damages. Only one country, means 10% of the people around the globe, on the other in all the continents, they're having this privilege of maintaining just 10%. So as long as we don't put the price tag for the resources that we are getting, that we are using, we don't get the value for it. Simply, we are getting it, we are not accounting. Now, I'm talking about corporates, if not individuals. So even 1.1 billion people, they lack drinking water. So at the cost of several trillions of dollars, they are exporting, they are polluting, and that resulting in so many things. So therefore, these are all the vital issues. As teachers, we should be aware of the damages that we are causing to the society, to the nature, to the environment, but we are not introducing any of these aspects in our curriculum. So therefore, I just made an attempt to introduce to the classes, to the teachers, so that they can deliver in the days to come, in the semesters to come. And of course, we make an attempt to introduce the same thing in the syllabus also in the days to come. So even if you are buying, if I am buying one burger, so that is also costing something to the environment. We are simply enjoying the burger. So we are consuming by paying 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 30 rupees, but we are also causing equal amount of damage to the ecosystem. That is what the statistics revealed by most of the companies around the world. So if we start cultivating in the natural environment without harming the ecology, without polluting the ecology, without poisoning our own soil, we will be in a position to save around 500 billion US dollar every year around the world. 500 billion US dollars means definitely it is double, twice the revenue of Apple company at present, or maybe from 2019 and 20, something like that. So every year, we are, by just satisfying our insatiable feelings, we are destroying so much. So every segment, every aspect, every phenomena has to be accounted. Rather, the corporate should be in a position to know how much they are deriving from the environment, the ecology, and how they are marketing, and what is the benefit they are getting, at what cost they are getting. So nobody is computing that. So that is why this system of environmental accounting must be introduced. This could also be termed or named as natural capital accounting. So we have the natural capital, we don't value it. So we have to value this. Definitely, this is going to be a revolution in another 1 decade. The whole world will be talking about the environmental aspects, environmental accounting, or natural capital accounting. So it's a combination of people, nature, and profit. So we as society, we are living in the society. So we are getting benefits. We have every right to live in a decent manner. We have every right to live free from all these effluents. So we are living naturally. We should live naturally. So therefore, it is a combination of people, nature, and then the profit or loss. The nature, after that, they should think of the profit, what they are getting or deriving, the corporates. So that is also known as the management of natural resources, how they are managing, how they are accounting. They're not just recording the business transactions in a systematic manner, what we proclaim or declare to the students or dictate to the student. It is something more than that. It's recording, reporting the usage of natural resources. So environmental accounting deals with the recording, as you said, recording, reporting, the usage of natural resources. So it's not as easy as I say in one line, recording, reporting natural resources. Who is using natural resources, how they are using, in what form they are using, at what cost they are using. There are tremendous challenges, there are tremendous issues one come across. So definitely in the days to come, there should be some kind of standardization in evaluating or fixing the usage levels, etc. Of course, in most of the developed countries, right now they have something called carbon trading. So in most of the European countries, they legislated in such a way that every company is restricted to use, or rather the output of that company shall not or should not exceed a particular standard, especially in terms of effluents, carbon effluents. So they restrict to some cubic tons every year. So the beauty of that is they're not permitted to use beyond that. That is their capacity. Some companies, definitely based on the demand in the market, they use more than that. They are supposed to use more than that because the demand is very high. On the other hand, there are companies they cannot reach their target. Though they have that limits, they can't exhaust their target. So therefore, what they do is unused capacity of their carbon emission effluents could be sold in the market. There are buyers in the international markets that they speak about, they sell their unused capacity. So there are people who are buying those credits, unused credits. So that is carbon trading already, which is prevailing in the world. So therefore, we have to think of, we have to understand the damages really. We can't even, it may not be possible for us to evaluate accurately, understand accurately, or value it up accurately, but we should give a thought of, we can think of what kind of damages we are causing to our own society, our own people, our own family, our own people. My own son or daughter may not be in a position to enjoy this privilege. What my grandfather or your grandfather enjoyed, we are not enjoying it. The beauty of the nature is gone. So therefore, this is the right time to think of those aspects. So we have to, right now, we should establish a punchline of triple R. We have to reduce, we have to reuse, and we have to recycle. So we have to reduce our consumption, we have to reuse our consumption, we have to recycle. So simply we buy a cup of tea or a cup of water, a bottle of water, we just ignore it, simply throw it. We don't know the aftermath of the usage, what they are doing with it. So at least those people who are sellers, the providers of services, etc., they should know what they're dealing with these things. So that is the phenomena involved in this type of accounting. It's applicable to all types of industry. The world, the environmental boards around the world, they classified into different segments. That is based on the environmental aspects. They're classified into forest resources, biomass resources, regulating resources, etc. And they are in a position right now to pinpoint the exact damages that we are causing as society, the corporates are causing to this. So therefore, they are segmented. There is the forest resources, damage to the forest resources. Under forest resources, they study the land, the soil. They measure in terms of square kilometer, the damages caused. All these things they'll be evaluating. And the next part is biomass, already existing resources like timber and the water resources, fisheries, and the ocean resources. So what is the damage that we are causing for that? That can also be calculated in cubic meters. And regulatory services, they established like a natural pollination thing. What earlier we are not using any chemicals or any fertilizers, or naturally the tree, the wood, everything was growing. We are using chemicals for every stage, every segment. So that damage also they are calculating. So therefore, it is the asset account what we are dealing with. If it is a bank account, we'll be easily in a position to understand the inflow of cash, outflow of cash, and the closing balance. So the natural resources we were simply drawing withdrawals only, cash outflow only. There is no inflow into it, the nature. So how to replace that? So at the end of this, this revolution of accounting, definitely will be a position to, put something into the account. That is the natural resources. So that is the research which we are carrying out in the premier institutions across the world. So this is the background of choosing this kind of accounting. So there are a lot of benefits when we introduce this system of accounting. Definitely, the one of the important the benefit is we can use appropriately the required resources. We can track the management of these resources. Definitely, they are in scarce in nature, and they have alternate usage also. So we should think of the very fundamental economic definition. So optimal utilization of scarce resources which are having alternate uses. So therefore, so same definition is applicable even after several decades, almost a century. So that is the first and the foremost thing. That is the benefit. We'll track the management of these resources, scarce resources, the flow of these resources. It may be related to the energy, it may be related to the materials, or it may be related to the pollution, what we are creating, the waste of volumes of wastages that we are creating, the types of damages that we are making, and what would be the fate of the generation. So all these things can be accounted with precision. That is the first and the foremost goal. The second thing, we have to improve, we have to derive a different image from the perspective of the stakeholders. With our two stakeholders talking about the investment analysis, talking about the profitability management, the dividend decisions, so many things. The stakeholders should also understand, just apart from the investment, the profit, the cost, and the benefit, they should also think something beyond this. What is the actual damage that they're causing to the environment? At what cost they're reaping the benefits? Maybe the capital appreciation, maybe the dividend, etc. So when apart from that, we'll be aware about the marketability of all these things. So what is the in these days, we calculate the market value of the equity share, earnings per share, price earning ratio, and the total profits after taxes divided by number of shares outstanding. You'll calculate the earnings per share multiplied by number of shares, you get the market value of firm. You just add the value of your debt and the value of the equity, which gives you the market value of the firm. Perhaps it may not be so in the days to come. So after calculating the value of the firm, maybe the asset value and the liability, etc., value of the equity and the value of the debt, the days to come, we may have to subtract the damages that they have made to the society, damages that they have made to the environment. So if we can gauge that and subtract that, definitely we'll be in a position to know the real value of the firm. So it may not be as simple as a gauge or guess or design or derive. We should think like that. Yes, some companies, or maybe Reliance, maybe Tata's, maybe Wipro, or anybody for that matter. So they could do it. At what cost they could do it? See, you're all using electricity right now for your mobiles or laptops or fans or whatever it is, wherever you are sitting. So comfortably you are sitting. So we are using electricity in bits, few units of electricity we're consuming for our pleasure. But we don't know the hardship of people who are across that Raichur thermal plant where coal is burnt and the effluent of the coal is damaging so much. Maybe the fertile lands are becoming barren lands, and the people around there, they can't breathe the natural air. So that is also one of the damage which we are causing. But there are other standards they must have installed there. So we have to see whether the the electricity producing companies are following all those things. So not just government sector, even the private sector, any society, any form of business will be in danger to the future, in danger to the ecology. So all these things could be accounted if you consider that as one of the obligation of every individual, every shareholder, every person, every company. So then only it is possible. Of course, right now it is not mandated that they should declare and all those. It's difficult, especially in a country like in India. It's quite difficult. Country like India, it's difficult to establish all these norms, but we should do it. So this is the phenomenal revolution we are talking about. You are looking for in the days to come. It can also be known as termed as green accounting or resource accounting or natural capital accounting or integrated economic and environmental accounting. So different dimensions we can talk about. So at least we're awakened right now that we are doing some damages. So not that hitherto they were not, they were, but they never ever thought of, writing something to this. So thanks to the environmentalists who fought for the justice, and that has made us to try for a new dimension of accounting. It may be environmental accounting or resource accounting or anything. Finally, this deals with the cost benefit analysis. So apart from using the traditional accounting principles, we should be in a position to compute the environmental costs that we are using. So the days to come, as I said, when this accounting is installed or initiated and integrated in the financial statement, the companies also disclose all these things. They must disclose the concern for the environment, how they are obtaining the raw materials, or what is the finished goods, how they are transmitting or treating the effluents. They must design a policy for this, and they must narrate the disclosure in their disclosure, the practices of production, etc. So that is possible to quantify their, the expenditure, or the cost, the benefits, or whatever they are dealing with. So that is the process. So what are the areas in which we come across? So it may be all types of industries, applicable to all types of industry, industrial hygiene, medical, especially the health, they will be. So health industry, manufacturing industry, production industry, some of the service industry, they'll be dealing with these types of aspects. So finally, you can say they should account every penny or every rupee, every paisa that they are damaging. So that is the vision what we have in this type of accounting. It may not be 100% possible, but when we make an attempt, at least we can create an impression in these lines. So that is the concept of accounting. There is environmental accounting. With this, we can understand something, but there are similar number of challenges in this kind of accounting, which we are thinking of. There are more number of challenges right now, and we have to build a cat to introduce this to the society or to the corporate world. The first one is, it is going to be a definitely a different form of accounting. We have not established any standard. There is no practice. So when there is no prescribed standard or practice, how to design that? So first and the foremost is challenge is designing this practice, how to design this practice. So the current account, we are familiar, the current accounting practices, we are familiar, but when we think of a new accounting like this, it's quite challenging. So therefore, first and the foremost challenge is to design the accounting concepts, how to design it. What are the fundamentals we should focus on? All these things should be considered. And the second thing the second challenge is there is lack of communication. So in case of a manufacturing concern, they will get the raw material somewhere, they replenish the raw material, they get it from the market and the stores, they place the order and they get it. How it has been processed, who is delivering, at what cost they're delivering, developing. There is lack, chain is missing. So communication links between the accounting department and the production department, in all these aspects are missing. We have to design somewhere and establish something like this. So that is also not there. That is also going to be a greatest challenge. And the flow of material, as we have some very simple mechanism like in stores ledger, we follow the traditional methods like the inflow and the outflow of raw material, the valuation of the raw material, stores ledger, etc. But when we talk about the raw material they are getting, from how they got the raw material, that where it is cultivated, where it was grown, if it is a forest resources, where it has been chopped off, it's very difficult, quite challenging. And after damaging that, how it is possible to replenish that, replace that, that is also a very tough task. And the cost information, we cannot easily measure it about that aspect. And investment decisions, very difficult. That is also a greatest challenge. And many types of environmental related cost information still not standardized. We just can't say how it is, disturbing or damaging or something like that. So we will be posing greater challenges. So for researchers, in the days to come, perhaps we'll be in a position to revive all these things. So that is the first and the foremost. The lack of standards in measuring these expenses, the damages, the cost. That is the first thing. The availability of data is also limited. We don't know, because ever since your birth and my birth, we are using the natural resources. We don't know the havoc that we are caused. At least in the days to come, in the next decades, we should depend on some data. There is no data established for that. So that is also thing. Lack of coordination, cost of conducting this measurement. We don't know how to evaluate that. That is also another challenge. And we are polluting so many things, but we don't know. Water pollution is different. We can't measure that. Air pollution is different. We can't measure that. Noise pollution is different. We can't measure it. So I'm not. Sometimes you say after finishing the class, so I'm tired. You are tired because of the technology. You are tired because of the noise, because of the electronic gadgets that you're using. So you are not happy. Your mood is lost. So how do you account that? So the pleasure, the pressure cannot be computed as of now. That is also another thing. And the opportunity cost, that is the only thing we can easily measure right now. For example, your opportunity cost is very easily can be computed, the market value and the actual value, everything can be calculated. That's what I'm talking about. The cost of discomfort. You are using a particular gadget, it's giving a lot of displeasure for you. You are having discomfort. So how do you calculate that? That is because produced by somebody, you are using it even after paying money for it, but you are facing discomfort. But you can't, the opportunity cost, if you are not invested that, what would have been the better return you could have obtained? But you got it, you purchased it. After purchasing it, you are saying you're facing a lot of discomfort. So opportunity cost in one hand, discomfort cost in other hand, it's not possible. So that is also another difficult task. So these are all the very, the fundamental aspects I'm talking about is just the tip of the iceberg. It's very vast. When you go deeper into it, this will take a different dimension in accounting. So with this thing, I would like to conclude. I will just throw open the class for the discussion. So let us have some discussion. Okay, if you have any doubts, feel free to ask. Let us learn. Okay. The class is open for discussion. Dinesh, can you hear me?
Sir, I can hear you, sir. I have a question to you, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, as a fraternity of teachers and specialist in accounting, what is your view or suggestion to the corporate or otherwise to the government in having environmental accounting system? If you have any sort of ideas.
Yeah, as academicians, as researchers, definitely we can suggest, we can submit to the government. At our level, it's only submission. So submission is definitely possible based on all these things. You know, I'm talking about literal meaning of submission, dictionary meaning of submission. So implementation is quite difficult at this juncture. As long as it is not mandated with the legislations, we cannot. I'm saying, I'm talking about the discipline. I'm talking about the moral values. I'm talking about ethical values. How many of us are ready to adopt those things? You may listen to me. I don't know. I'm not sure whether you're going to practice or not. So it will again, of course, I'm telling in a lighter way. I'm just talking about you just do as I say, but don't do as I do. If I say that, if this is the attitude of the government, it is not going to be materialized. So therefore, of course, as academic bodies, as in researchers, academicians, universities, definitely will submit, insist the government. In the gradual days, definitely we are going to introduce to the syllabus. At least our students will be aware of it. So that is what we're initiating in the days to come.
Sir, I have one more question.
Yeah.
Can we have a separate set of accounting principles
Standards.
to have the environmental accounting for the purpose of environmental accounting
Yeah,
to meet the complex?
definitely, we are thinking on those lines. There are researchers across the world, across the globe. They are framing certain, set of standards. If you are using raw cotton, for example, so at what cost? What is the quantum of river water is used? For example, if you are cultivating, as I said, the sugar cane, you are fetching only 2,800 rupees per acre, or sorry, per ton. At what cost? 2,800 rupees, 365 days water you are flowing means. So it's very difficult. You know, the cost will be definitely higher if you're borrowing water. So therefore, there shall be a benchmark. This is the standard. This is the crop you should use. I'm just talking about the crop. It's very easily understandable. That's why. Similarly, if you are polluting the natural resources, there should be some bars, legislations. They have to treat properly, and they should inspect at every level of discharging. So many things. So accounting standards should be established, will be established for this system also. Of course, it takes some 5 to 10 years. So after 5 years, at least from now, we will be in a position to speak authoritatively on this issue, if not tomorrow or next year. It's only a new dimension. You know very well the merits and the demerits, the shortcomings when we talk about something new. So definitely that is going to happen to this. Next, Professor Umesh. As a businessman, what is your suggestion for this type of accounting? Dr. Umesh.
Sir, he has an issue with a technical problem with this device. He will be back, sir.
Okay. I know some of you, that's why I'm just naming you. Indira? Hello, can you hear?
One second. Yes, sir.
Any doubts you have? What's your opinion about this setup of accounting?
No question, sir. But
No
I was
question.
listening to this carbon credit you were saying. How it can be.
You should speak because you carried out some research on your ecosystem of tourism. Your
Yes.
damage, you are talking something related to that. Eco-tourism you're talking about in those days. A decade ago,
Yes.
you're talking about that.
Yes.
A decade ago, you're talking about that. 10 years ago.
Right, sir. Yes. Yes, sir. Still I'm talking on it. And this carbon credit you're saying, no, sir, how they, I mean, how was it possible to include, like, they earn the carbon credit and you said, they can sell
No,
it to
they will
people.
give the license. Very simple. You are having a business unit, they will give the license to you. So your affluent shall not exceed a particular unit, like 1,000 metric cubic feet or whatever it is, some standards. So when you produce in a month or a year or a span of production period, or in a year or whatever it is, your affluent should not exceed that limit. Your production should not go beyond that. Because 1 kg of output will give so much of carbon affluent. So you can calculate this is the output, so I use this much. So I don't have any more carbon credit in my account, so I should stop production. So you will come to know that standard. But there is a demand for your product. You will approach your other people in the field. Those who are not having demand, those who are not producing anything, they will have the credits in their account. So you can buy that credit and you can start producing. You will not be violating.
Okay.
So that fellow who is for unused capacity, the limits, the license, the permission, whatever he is having, he will be selling that.
Yes. Thank you.
Anybody else?
What's actually green audit, sir?
Yeah, green audit also going to be an extension of this environmental auditing only. So green audit mostly focuses on aspects after green accounting. Green audit mainly focuses on layout and design. For example, whether the industry is properly set up, whether they have formed the required norms, they establish the plant or the factory near the forest area, permitted area, something like that. Layout design, they deal with the layout design. They deal with the management of resources, whether they're endangered to the forest or the nature, the ecosystem, the pollution control system, the mechanism that they introduced, the emergency safety arrangements that they have made, all these aspects they'll be talking about. So on the few years back, we had everything in green banking, green accounting, green auditing. So green audit is going to take a different dimension now. So green banking means we are eco-friendly, we are not using the papers. They were talking only about that. We are using the online banking, we are not printing much, something like that. We will not be wasting the paper, the print, the carbon prints, etc. They were talking about that. Now, green audit will take a different dimension when the environmental accounting is initiated. Especially this, right from the beginning, the standards will be established. So we have to fit into that, just like an official license, the permission, the norms, and we should not violate. And apart from financial statements auditing, the other aspects also be audited. So it is going to be there in the years to come. We hope we'll have the privilege of witnessing that also.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So this is Vijay Shekhar.
Yeah.
So just I want to quote the Mahatma Gandhiji quote.
Yeah.
The earth provides enough to satisfy the every man's needs, but not the every man greeds. But we are greedy. We are not worried about the environment.
Yeah, that's true. You are absolutely right. That's what
we
I
are
told
talking
you.
about the sustainable development, and we are also fixing the sustainable development goals. But we are not worried about the environment. In India also, few companies voluntarily they are adopting the environmental accounting practices as a part of the CSR.
Yeah.
But majority of the companies they are ignoring the effect of the environment or environmental pollution. So particularly, there is no clear practices, there is no clear standards to adopting the environmental accounting. So in future, shall we expect any accounting standards relating to this, sir?
Yeah, definitely. We are going to have some set of standards. If not at the Indian level, it is a global level initiation or MNC level initiation that will percolate. You know, we are talking about accounting standards. So now we are talking about IFRS. So we adopted it. We are forced to adopt at least. If not, we are willing. So similarly, we have to mandate in such a way our corporates, if not for proclaiming that they are committed to the society, having a board in a park or maintaining some roads and bridges, etc. That apart, they should show their concern not by displaying the boards, their commitment, their involvement. So then only it is possible. And of course, we need everything in a legislated manner. So something should be governed. So as long as it is not mandated, definitely there won't be any progress. So at least when it is mandated, apart from the normal disclosures, so there are people who are ready to incorporate. If not at the larger scale, definitely attempts being made by some of the caution, concerned, committed entrepreneurs. So what I plead, what I request you is you create this kind of awareness among your students when you deliver the lecture and go to the class. It may not be there in the syllabus right now, but as general understanding, we can create an awareness in the initial stages. So every one of us
Yes, sir,
deriving
as,
lot
yes,
from the society. Yeah.
sir,
Somebody
as per
said.
my knowledge, only the few companies, the environmental accounting or these
Yeah.
like concepts are compulsorily.
Mm.
Without making it as a compulsion for all the companies, we cannot expect the
Yeah,
correct
definitely.
implementation of this.
Yeah. That's what I'm telling. In the days to come, maybe the Ministry of Corporate Affairs should be ignited, should be initiated. It will come. It will take some time, but it will be mandated because we have, as I said, there are challenges, there are difficulties in framing the accounting practices itself. So disclosing practices, disclosing norm, so setting the standards. As long as these are not set, so there is a definitely dire need of blend of so many institutions set up here, accounting bodies, chartered accountancy, cost accountancy, and environmental bodies, pollution control bodies. There should be a coordination between all these things, and then it is possible for us to establish a norm. As a commerce people, commerce teacher, what you can evaluate is different from the environmental perspective. For us, one bottle of water is only 20 rupees. For them, it is something more than that. So there is some problem, technical aspects. So we have to integrate first, we have to design it, then it is possible for implementation. I'm sure it will take up, but it is some time, maybe at least 5 years from now, minimum.
Sir,
UGC
even though
also.
there is a number of laws, rules, regulations, laws relating to the environment protection, and also MOEF, Ministry of Environment and Forest, also taking certain measures. Really, they are in only paper, not in the practice.
Okay, yeah, that is possible, especially in a country like India. You know, very simple thing. I'm not. Don't take it otherwise. It is mandatory for our BCom, BBA students to study environmental studies on paper, compulsory. All of you know very well. Who is supposed to teach that and how they are teaching? You just question yourself. So I don't want the answer. I know the answer. So when we are unable to discharge in a very, very simpler manner appropriately, you just imagine these corporates. So it is mandatory for us also to teach environmental paper, environmental studies or something like that. We are not doing proper. I can admit our mistakes, your mistakes. We know it very well. Maybe constraints. The principals, how they are handling this issue, the teachers, how they are handling this issue. Many constraints are there. So at our level only when we can come across these kind of difficulties, definitely at the corporate level, it takes time. It may take few years also. I'll be very optimistic. Let us hope for the best.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other doubts or questions from anyone? Madhusudan?
Sir, how about the solar energy is being utilizing by companies?
Hello?
Hello. Sir,
Yeah.
how about the solar energy is being utilizing by companies?
Companies, solar energy. How they are using, as I said, it is not mandated yet. It is not a compulsory thing. You know, if you want to build a house in your area, you are in Mysore, I'm sure. If you want to build a house in Mysore, you need to take a license. At the time of construction, the corporation should say that you must have two things. One is solar energy, solar lighting for your house. Other one is rainwater harvesting. If this is mandated, of course, the permission is will be given. I think now they are mandating the rainwater harvesting. If you want to build a house, you must have the provision to harvest the rainwater. That is the legislation, that is the act, that is the rule prevailing in Mysore only. I'm talking Mysore for building your house. Similar way, whether they are executing or implementing or other constraints are also there. Fine. You should make it compulsory that every household must have a solar panel to get the license. Or you should have 50-50, 50% solar lighting facility and 50% something like that. So they know everyone every month how much they're consuming. You know the maximum units that you're consuming per month, your KB or the SESCOM people. So based on the average of the last 5 years, if they see that 50% we'll supply, 50% you harvest solar energy, what would be the result? So same thing with companies, it is not mandatory. On their own, they are insisting. That's why UGC is talking about all these when we go for NAC accreditation. So these are all the best practices. We say that as a college, you must have the rainwater harvesting facility, you must have the solar energy, facility, you're harvesting the solar energy. All these things we insist. That is what we award marks. We give the marks. Yes, this is the good practices that you're doing. So you'll be rated based on that. So similarly, companies, there is no standard, we have the best corporate governing practices award we give. Mayur award we give, for example, Minister of Corporate Affairs. So who are the people who are getting Mayur award? I need not explain. So therefore, it's quite difficult to say we can initiate, but how many? On the other hand, we talk about the cost also. The entrepreneurs, they think that establishing the unit itself requires a lot of investment. So at this point, we are asking them to generate employment. So we have to marginalize them. We have to give some margins, some relaxations. So many barriers are there. It's a novel venture. It's a good proposal that we have to mandate solar energy harvesting. Okay. Okay, then I think.
Sir.
Hello.
So thank you very much. This was only an introduction session. I just wanted you to ignite the minds of your students so that let them have an awareness. Okay, thank you.
Hello. I am Mr. S.B. Kardak from Nasik, Maharashtra. Now I am giving the vote of thanks. It's a great pleasure to be the part of this refresher course. First of all, I am thankful to MHRD Mysore for selection. The topic of this refresher course is the most important in today's education scenario. I must congratulate to the coordinator for such a innovative and creative topic. Today's our resource personality, Professor Nagaraja, who focus on the accounting, and environmental issue. He informed us as well as enlighten and motivate us. I am thankful for Professor Nagaraj on behalf of entire MHRD Mysore team and participant for being the part of this valuable guidance. I am also thankful to our course coordinator, Professor M.L. Ashok sir, who is the source of energy for all of us. And last but not least, the participants who come together for the thrust of knowledge. I am thankful to them also. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. ಆಯ್ತಾ ಡಿಸ್ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು